All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on a late Friday night, man. CP the franchise in the building. Our guy Bailey Lau on the other side, man. This is another episode of KnicksFanTV's Court Vision, where we break down the film, the X's and O's for the Orange and Blue, man, as they enter into Game 3 of this Eastern Conference semifinals against the Celtics, up 2-0. Bailey, how you feeling, man?
Excellent. I mean, this has been an incredible series. I can't say I expected us to be here, but we're here now, and I was really excited breaking down the film.
Yeah, we are here, man. And as you said, an unlikely journey here heading into Game 3. But you know what? I hope they can stick around, man. Let's break down the film and let us know what you've been seeing so far in the first two games.
Yeah, definitely. So let's start on the defensive side of the ball. The first thing to talk about is just the defensive assignment. This is the same thing like the Pistons series. We started putting OG on Tatum. In the first two games of the regular season, it was Mikal that had the assignment, and we kind of switched it in games 3 and 4. But just one thing to note, just a bigger defender like we talked about in the Pistons series, it actually just allows Cat to have an easier job, right? Because he can set up shop on Tatum's left-hand side every single time. We talk about the Celtics being a really good team at flipping the screen. And Cat just doesn't have to figure out where to be. He's just always on Tatum's left-hand side, right? So even in like the third game of the regular season and the fourth game, you started seeing the Knicks look a little bit better defensively just because Tatum wasn't like turning his hips all over the place and just not being in a defensive stance. So you're just in a better position to actually defend this, right? So here you see OG weakening the screen, forcing Tatum left. Cat's already there. And this is beneficial in whatever coverage you want to play. Right, you want to play drop, you want to trap. We trapped Cade. It was easier when Cat was already there. In this series, you started seeing Cat just switch onto Tatum, Cat switch onto everyone. And it's just not something the Knicks have ever done during the course of the regular season, which to me is extremely impressive. Not just that they decided to do it here in this series, but that they're executing at this level, playing an entirely new defense. So there was a clip a couple years ago of Chris Paul talking about that Rockets team, right? And they're switching defense against the Warriors. And in his video, he was basically saying that they spent the entire regular season preparing and like playing that defensive strategy just to play the Warriors. And that's so fascinating to me because it's kind of the same situation, except the Knicks have never practiced this.
Right.
They've never had any game like. They have no film to be like, this is what we did when we played Switch. This is where we need to be better at it. And for the most part, like they don't really practice all that much, right? So like, it's baffling to me that they look this clean and just flip the switch. Like, okay, let's just switch and see how they play. Yeah, and they played incredibly, right? So as you watch this develop, the other big thing to notice is Mikal and McBride. They're both in the gap. They're not in like great position realistically. Like Mikal can't see Brown right now, and McBride also can't see White. But the big thing to note is they're not over helping. And too many times during the regular season, that was a huge thing that they did where like there's no advantage for the offensive player, but you would see a second defender come over and pre-help. Right. So you're just not seeing that at all this series. Even though they're a little out of position, they're not over helping, they can recover. This is a foul, but like that's good defense. Right. And yeah, it's just been incredible to watch. I don't know if you have any thoughts on like kind of why it looks so good. To me, it's like it's actually just insane how clean they look.
No, it is, as you said, because it's not something that, you know, they've implemented during the regular season. Now in their walkthroughs, are they, you know, maybe scheming for this? But as you said, in practice, in actual practice, they just haven't. But as we talked about in the first Court Vision coming into this, to me, this was their only chance at even coming close in this series. Now, look, they've had 20-point gaps in this thing, but by and large, this scheme that they're running here in terms of switching everything, but still helping, right? You're still seeing guys out there like not full on committing, but they're digging in certain respects. They're hedging, they're showing rather, and still being able to get out onto the shooters. It's been very impressive so far. But like I said, I don't think they had a shot in any other sequence, in any other scheme other than this against a supposedly hot shooting, 3-point shooting Celtics team who hasn't shown it yet. But hey, we'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, I totally agree that this is the right schematic decision, but just watching the execution of it play out like so flawlessly has been I'm honestly just confused as to why it looks so good.
Yeah,
I'm not complaining, but like this is incredible stuff to watch,
for
right?
sure.
So I'm just gonna show you one clip of this is a mistake that Cat and OG made during this play. This is rare. Like in this series, they just like don't really make that many mistakes. But you see, typically OG sends Tatum left. In this clip, OG is sending him right, right? And you know it's not a mistake in this position because Cat knows that
Yes.
Tatum's going right.
Right.
The mistake is that OG is not shading Tatum hard enough.
Right.
So because OG is not shading him hard enough, Tatum gets an easy crossover to his left. Horford gets to set a good screen. And then this is what you're going to see, which is what happened in the entire regular season. Right?
Yes.
So if you watch Cat come up, this was like the exact play that happened all game 1 and game 2. This is why the Celtics killed us, right? And if you watch Tatum in these situations, he loves seeing it. He knows exactly what to do. The entire game simplifies for him. And then he just gets to come off the screen. He sees Cat's hips turn, and he gets to attack this, right? Draws a foul here. But these are like the little things that you don't want to give Tatum, because for Tatum, these are like easy decisions. He loves seeing it. He knows how to play out of it. And that's why the switch is effective, right? Because he doesn't really get to see these kind of coverages. Instead, like we discussed in the preview, you're now living with the isolation matchup, right? Now, in the preview, when we were talking about the isolation matchup, we were kind of discussing it as like the lesser of two evils. Like in like the context of all that the Celtics can run, it's probably one of the better ones for the Knicks if they just ISO. I'm starting to come around to like maybe it's just not a good offensive possession to just go after Cat. Like Cat's really bad as a pick and roll defender, but he's really not all that bad as like a perimeter defender.
Yeah.
And like I'm seeing a lot of stuff of like, oh, when Celtics get Cat as the mismatch hunt, like just drive against him. I don't know if it's that easy.
Yeah.
Like truthfully, like I think he's pretty solid, man.
I think he's been holding it down. He's certainly been holding it down, especially in isolation, man. And, you know, it just makes you think in terms of just the pick and roll coverages, how much of a difference maker OG is, just in terms of his screen navigation and how much that takes the pressure off of Cat. Because as you said, once he gets out of position, he can't recover that quickly. But if he's in a solid position, he can keep these guys in front of him. He just has to finish the play and stay disciplined. And, you know, on those Tatum's fouls, he had another similar foul on Tatum in that last regular season game at the end of the game, similar fashion. He's just got to stay disciplined and finish the play. But by and large, Cat's defense has been really good in the first 2 games.
Yeah, he's been awesome. As long as you take him out of the pick and roll coverage, he's looked really good. And then one more awesome thing on this play is look at this drive by Brown, right? And then Cat's there. Right? Cat's like defending him well. Hart not coming over is another thing that, in my opinion, is like really difficult to tell your team to execute. Like throughout the entire regular season, you've seen this overhelping. You've seen like these are all reactive defenders because they're good at it, right? They're all like really athletic. They're all making good reads. So a lot of times you're just letting them play defense, flying loose on the defensive side of the ball. But the discipline to not do that in a playoff series, like flipping the switch like that, I think has been very impressive. Like I went back and watched game 2 of the regular season. There are like 10 plays where you just see people completely out of position, just like sending 2 to the ball, like losing their man. Like that just hasn't happened during this series, which is it's awesome to watch. So you saw everyone stay home on that play. I just want to talk about Mitch really quick.
Sure.
Mitch has been incredible. One of the things on the defensive side is you just get versatility in how you defend it. You don't have to like predetermine your schemes. Like the base scheme is still to switch, but he can read it, right? So you don't switch there because Mikal gets over. On this one, you do get over because Mitch is seeing that happen. And then also like this is not an easy matchup. Yeah. As much as like you want to mismatch hunt Mitch, that's not that easy of a matchup.
Yeah, and you know what? And that play when he hits that, and you know Reggie's like, "Oh man, the next you don't want to do this. You don't want to put Mitch out there on Tatum."
Yep,
I'm okay with it.
100%.
I'm totally fine with it. It was the same situation with Cade. Like I am okay with Mitch being put out there on the perimeter in that fashion. Like, that was just a great shot by Jason Tatum. I'll give him that shot. 10 out of 10.
It was great defense too. Like Mitch got a great contest, didn't foul, and I mean tough shot. But in terms of process, like yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm totally fine. Now, the one thing I'm a little concerned about defensively, and I'm not really sure why the Celtics aren't going to it more, is it's not really a switch everything defense. It's switch 2 to 5, and then Brunson always hedges. I think they're just doing that to preserve Brunson's energy. Otherwise, like you're getting a lot of Brunson ISOs, which he's been solid.
Yeah, he's been solid as well. Yes,
but it's just tiring, I think. So like you want to avoid those situations. The good news is the Knicks got to practice that a lot against the Pistons. Like almost every single pick and roll cade, they got to practice this hedge. With Drew Holiday, if you slip it, which he did 2 times in game 1 in the clutch, there's a really easy layup. I think the Celtics can go to a little bit more.
Yeah,
it's going to be difficult for the Knicks to guard this. The next play is the one I'm very confused as to why they didn't go to in game 2. They went to this a couple times in game 1, but it's this double drag, which is this double screen. Your first screen is Horford. Now, the Celtics should know on this first Horford screen, the Knicks are going to switch. So essentially, you end up with Cat on Tatum. The second screen by Drew Holiday, the Knicks aren't going to switch this.
Right.
Every time Brunson's in the action, they're going to hedge this. So now you're asking for a play where when it's OG and Brunson, it's hard to defend, but because OG's a good defender, it kind of makes it a little better. You're now replacing OG with Cat, and you're asking Cat and Brunson to execute this hedge and recover. That's going to be dangerous.
Yeah.
I don't know why they stopped doing this in game 2, but I think like if they lean into this, get Cat switched first, and then have him and Brunson hedge and recover, it's going to be a little difficult to guard. Knicks have a counter, right? It's just switch everything. So you're going to see it here. Brunson's going to switch out into Tatum. This is in the clutch, and this is fine, right? You reset this position. You reset this possession. So just want to give flowers to Brunson as well on his isolation defense, especially in the clutch. Like the Knicks protect him a lot during the first like 3.5 quarters. But like when it comes down to it, I mean, this is a clutch player of the year, right?
Yeah.
But he's also been trusted with getting these stops as well. Like I know Mikal Bridges had both of those game-winning defensive plays, but a lot of these isolations in the fourth and overtime, you're living with Brunson isolating, and watch this play develop, right? Isolation. As Brown goes into it, look at everyone else. This is just trusting your teammate.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not gonna send help unless you are beat. We are gonna make Brown beat you, and all of them are staying home. No one's over helping. This is not something that you saw a lot of during the season. Like this is a team that defensively had a tendency to overhelp. But the trust that you have here in Brunson, in getting the stop, forcing him into a tough shot, that's awesome to see. And I think these are like actual differences that we're seeing in this series that didn't happen in the regular season. Where like you're seeing a lot of people talk about it like, oh, the Knicks are getting lucky. Like a couple other shots fall. This is a different series. Yeah. Maybe. But like this is a different defensive team. Like they look different, they feel different, and like they're very, very connected, and you're just like not seeing any of the mistakes, which I think are tangible differences.
No question. And then on top of that, your 2 weakest defenders have not necessarily been weak links so far in the first 2 games. You even see it on Jaylen Brown drives, Brunson stripping the ball out of his hand. So, Brunson and Cat being able to keep their guys in front of them while the help defense is very limited, making sure that they stay at home on the shooters as best as possible. Boston's still gotten some open looks and missing those as well. But I think that's been critical for the success of this defense, man. So you got to give credit 1 through 5 that these guys are really holding it down.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I just have a couple clips just to give credit. Not really anything film related, but this is the ramp screen we talked about, right? Like getting Cat detached. Bad defensive play from Cat. Cat has to know that OG is going to weak the screen and get on the left side, but he just kind of gets stuck on this. This is like game 1 and 2 regular season Cat.
Yeah.
We haven't seen this from Cat like since game 3. But this is bad defense by Cat, right?
Yeah.
Look at Mikal, man. Like, this is incredible. This closeout and staying home on the closeout, that's phenomenal stuff by Mikal. And it's just that connectedness, like seeing that Cat got lost, seeing that Mikal he has to help out. Like, that's just great defense. Another one, campaign. KP on campaign. there's just good fight.
Yeah,
And like
that
that's
was
another thing,
noticeable.
right? Then the Knicks are matching that requisite level of intensity, of focus, of just bringing the fight where they know that's the level of fight required, and that's been awesome to see as well. It kind of feels way more like last season's team,
Mhm.
which I think that has felt like it was missing from this team. But that fight and that intensity and that focus, you're just seeing it constantly throughout the series.
Yeah, no question about it. Great stuff by you, man. And, a couple of things, as you said, like things to look out for in terms of potential counters. They did run those slip screens a couple of times in game 2 and found some success there. So, against the Knicks being aggressive there, wanting to switch or maybe on the Brunson plays, putting 2 on the ball for a second there in terms of his hedge and recovery, having guys like a Holiday or a White slip those, now you're wide open. Now you're susceptible, and I did notice that the Celtics did run that to some success there in game 2, and then additionally, as the Mitch counter, we did see that in the second to last play of the game where they ran more of a high screen and roll and got Tatum going downhill fast. That was what I was expecting Detroit to do a lot more with Cade. They did that with Tatum. I wonder if they do that a little bit more in the game 3, where whether it's whether it's Mitch or Cat out there playing the 5, running more of those high pick and rolls, seeing how the Knicks adjust there. If they're up, defending up, then, and they get past them, there's no second line of defense there for the most part. And then, if the Knicks are dropping back a little bit, does Tatum find his 3-point stroke and knock those down as well, making it a double-edged sword there?
Yeah, that high pick and roll is tough. I actually don't feel that bad about it, just because that's like a play that OG can contain. He just has to be really good, like either seeing it earlier and then being like, oh, I'm getting this flat screen at half court, I have to get around it. Or like he did on the last play, which is sink low.
Sink low.
Right? And then that obviously leaves, if you sink too low, then Tatum has that shot. But OG is also really strong, right? He likes like pushing that screen. He likes pushing Horford into Tatum a little bit, which should kind of negate that a little bit.
Yeah, true indeed, man. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel, man. CP the franchise, Bailey Lau, another great edition of KFTV's Court Vision, breaking down what we saw in games 1 and game 2 in preparation for a big game 3 at Madison Square Garden, man. All right, what we got next?
Last thing defensively. Mm-hmm. In the third quarter, Tibbs came out and dropped, and I don't know why. Like I'm not sure. Like the scheme that you came out with in game 1, game 2 has worked. Everything's working exactly how you drew it up. Do not go back to the one thing that killed us during the regular season. And you saw Tatum get hot. Like Tatum hit that 3. Tatum has this. This is an in and out dribble, I believe. But again, this makes Tatum's life so easy because like his reads are, I have Cat in isolation now with going backwards. I can either hit him with it in and out, I can cross if his hips are turned, or I can just pull up if he's too far. Like these are the simplest reads for Tatum. Don't give it to him. So that's when they brought the lead up to 20.
Yeah.
And then when Cat got subbed out, when Mitch came, scheme went back to switching. Also, Mitch is a better defender, but that's when the comeback started happening.
Tighten it up.
And yeah, so it's just one of those things. I'm not really sure why. I just don't want to see it for the rest of the series.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, so let's go to the offensive side of the ball now. First things first is just Mikal. I think the most impressive part about this to me is coming from not scoring and then having the trust to have the ball in his hands. Because we've talked about campaign initiating, and that seems to be like the Knicks' default is like not going to Mikal. It's like campaign initiate. And even when Brunson got injured, right, it went to Deuce as the primary initiator. Like coming to Mikal in that situation and trusting him, I thought was big. And credit to Tibbs, credit to the players, credit to Mikal himself. There's a great defender. Like in Drew Holiday, you're getting to your spots. Very few people can guard Mikal when he gets to his spot.
Right.
Like his handles aren't the tightest. You saw him have a couple of those turnovers. But he doesn't need to do it. Like give him a high screen. One screen, just little jab, one dribble, you're in your spot. Very, very difficult to defend. So just flowers to Mikal. having that like confidence to keep on shooting, I think is big as well. Moving on to Cat, I don't really have. I guess I don't know what to say about the post stuff with Cat. Like we've talked about it a lot about like what the Knicks can do to help him out. I think at this point, like he's just exerting his force. When he exerts his force like that, he scores. And like it's not great spacing, it's not a great scheme. They can send a double, but you've seen him now score over that double. So when he's confident, when he's like bullying people, and this is when he had like 3 straight buckets. Those are big buckets. We were struggling to find offense. Just throw him the ball, even if it's not like a good set. This is maybe the one thing I saw in the post game is the Celtics like to front him when he has 3 shooters around him with Hart initiating. That over the top pass is going to be open. The Cat really likes to like get back in front, and like kind of like come back around. But if you just like maybe like once or twice a game, just look over the top and throw it, that probably will be there with some shooters around you. He hits a good fadeaway here, but I think that'll be open a lot just to get him some easier looks. But he's a tough shot maker at this point. Like you send 2 to him, he can still, especially if he has Drew or a smaller wing on him, he just go over the top of the double team and just hit that little post shot. And sorry, you got it.
No. Well, I was gonna say, just going back through those 2, Cat scores 8 points in a row in the second quarter, and then Campaign takes a seat check away by launching it from out of bounds, and so that got him good minutes on the bench. Now I don't know because he was a hero in Game 1 of the Pistons series, and then you didn't really see him after that. I don't know what Tibbs is gonna do with those minutes on Game 3, but it maybe just makes sense, man. Just go with Mikal. Let him run the offense. Stop waiting. Just so you're not wasting time. And then that way, if Mikal is running the offense, hey, you could run the offense through him. You could also allow Deuce to play off ball. Like you have a capable, even though sometimes it can be shaky with the handle, you have a capable playmaker, shot creator, and a guy who you want to get confidence. That was an excellent sequence in the fourth quarter where he dropped 14 points in that quarter. Like you said, he started the game off ice cold. And then with Cat, man, like even though his 21 and 15 was good and he had some clutch moments in that fourth, I felt like he could have came out of there with 35 and 15.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't see where from Horford to Brown, Tatum, Drew Holiday, I didn't see how any of those guys were going to check Cat that night. And I think tomorrow, I want to see him have a monster game tomorrow against those guys, man.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think he can, not even changing anything.
Right.
Just let him play the way he's playing. And I think he can have that type of game.
For sure.
And last person to talk about is Hart.
Yeah.
This is why it's so critical for Josh to shoot these shots. So, like, look at how the Celtics are playing him, right? And Celtics, again, are the most disrespectful team guarding Hart. They genuinely just do not guard him, and they'll always pack the paint and send help, which you're seeing right here, right? Tatum's not guarding him. By Hart taking this and by Hart making these, he's made a lot of these during the series, right? Watch this play in the fourth by Mikal. This is also an incredible move by Mikal. Is it Drew Holiday, great defender. Stopped a little, starts and stops here. Horford is cheating in the paint, right? And Horford's always like this when Hart's playing. And typically when you get beat on the perimeter, Horford's already there to stop the drive, right? Watch Mikal as he comes across this. Look at Horford. He turns his head to check where Hart is. That does not happen if Hart does not shoot it and does not make those shots, does not make that corner 3. Horford's not looking at you. Because you were willing to take it, Horford gets dragged out. That's where that layup comes from. Like, great move by Mikal, but like the willingness to take that shot forces the defense to take a mental note of where you are on the court. And by taking that mental note, by Horford turning his head, that's where Mikal gets that layup from, which is huge.
Yeah. And so as you see there, the little things that are occurring throughout a game can open things up later on. And that split head turn and a little, motion over just a little bit just to see where he is, because Hart was stepping into those threes with rhythm, very fluid, great form, and knocking them down. You see how those things open up, man. Just those little attention to detail. That was excellent. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then I just want to call out this play. It's nothing special. It's literally just a pick by Hart, and OG shoots a 3 here. But I remember when I was watching this play happen, right before this play happened was that like super broken play where there was like a turnover and then an offensive rebound and a Jaylen Brown three. And it felt like one of those momentum plays where like the Celtics could go on a run. Every time after one of those plays, I typically expect Brunson to bring the ball up and like get a pick and roll and like create a shot for himself. That's like kind of the default Knicks offense.
Yeah.
When things are kind of bad, right? Like when you're starting to feel the momentum shift. They went straight to this OG Hart pick and roll, which led to OG three, which like I loved. Like throughout the course of the season, or like throughout the course of a game, you need these plays. Like you need the wings involved. You need them to have confidence that they're going to get the ball and they're going to like have these plays called for them. And that's not even a play called for OG. Probably that was just in the scope of random offense.
Right.
But that's really cool stuff to see because there's times definitely throughout the season where you've seen the default just be Brunson's going to get the ball, Brunson's going to get a screen. If nothing happens, then come set another screen for Brunson. But just starting to see like the offense do different things as just like random offense has been really, really cool to see.
Yeah, the diversity is important. OG has shown the ability to get you some good offense. Game one, I thought he was spectacular. Game two, more on the defensive side. But then the Hart factor, I think he's been having a great past two games. Number one, the grit's been there, just getting after it on the boards, which has been vital, even though the Knicks have lost. They're down plus 15 on the boards. But even still, when he's out there, you got to utilize him to get the most out of him. So he's hitting his threes great, but also utilizing him as a screener, as a guy that's going to get dribble handoffs, as a guy who can bring the ball up the court. As you saw him off the live rebounds, he was pushing the pace up a little bit. Those are the ways that Josh Hart has to be utilized in his offense to get the most out of him. And I think because of all of that, his activity on the ball, it allowed him to get those threes in rhythm because he's hot.
Yeah. And he just has the ball more. He's like in rhythm. He's like in every play, and that gets you into a groove.
100%, 100%, man. Any more? Or were we at the end?
That was it.
There we go. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Good crowd here on a late night Friday night. We had to start a little bit late, man. We had a long day, but nevertheless, man, a big game three. What are you expecting for this one, man? What do you think?
I think it'll be a good one. I don't think the Knicks should be underdogs. Like I think like the way they're playing and with like the new defensive scheme, this is like a team that's on the Celtics level in terms of talent. And the question has always been execution and whether like this team was being optimized. And like I think you're now seeing like what an optimal Knicks team looks like. And I think like we match up with this team. So I don't think like these are fluke games. Like I know they feel fluky. I know the shooting variance is there, but like the Knicks haven't played well either, right? Like these aren't like
that's
fluke games that you're watching right now.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. Like, yeah, you can talk about the numbers, and I never envisioned, especially when you look at some of the stats and the fact that my old adage against the Celtics is like you got to control the possessions because they shoot so many threes and they hit them. And so you have two games where the Knicks didn't control the possession game and still came out with a W. So, yeah, you could make the argument about the Celtics shots, but that's kind of disregarding the Knicks defense, which has been so good. OG defense on Tatum, which the numbers have backed up even in the regular season. So, that's not an aberration by any stretch. They're different teams physically and mentally at this point. And, you don't know what Kristaps' stamina and his overall well-being is going to be looking like. They got Hauser out. I mean, look, they got guys out. Knicks are coming in fresh. Block Ness Monster has been huge in this series. And as I expected, man, like, I wasn't buying the whole you can't play him on the court. Offensively spacing, bro, Mitch is a problem that you have to put out there and let them adjust. We can't always just be out there, we got to go 5 out, we got to adjust everything. Let them adjust to a 7-footer who can cover on the perimeter, who can block shots, who on that last play, he forces Tatum to his left side, which caused Tatum to stumble because he's on his offhand. and then forces him right into Wingstop, who makes a signature play. That is what Mitchell Robinson's impact is with this team, and it was clear as day on that final play, man. It was beautiful.
Game 1 too, he had that isolation stop on Tatum contesting the three. That's not an easy shot. Like,
right.
Tatum seeing a center, thinking you can hit a step back and create a lot of separation. Mitch has the length to close out.
Yeah, man. So I'm just thankful that, he's in a series. He's healthy. There's no Embiid's, being dirty, getting him out of here. And, this Knicks team is riding with some confidence. So let's see how they come out on game 3. You certainly don't want to play the come from behind game again. I want to see them go out and punch, man. Look, Brunson's been covered by White, by Holiday. Those are all defensive players. But I also thought he missed some bunnies out there. He missed some threes that he could be making as well. So I think he'll make his adjustments. He'll stay patient. And Cat, man, I just think there's a 30-20 game out there for the big bodega that just hasn't been captured yet. Maybe it's tomorrow night at the Garden. Maybe it's tomorrow afternoon, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for growth still for this Knicks team, right? Which is like, everyone says that about the Celtics team, but the same thing can be said about this Knicks team.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, man. So let's take in game 3 and game 4, and maybe that's it. Maybe we just
that'd be nice.
Cover the sweep. Maybe we just cover the sweep in historic fashion. But either way, we'll be back, man. Great job, great show, everybody. Make sure you follow him at Bailey Lau 1 on Twitter, man. Make sure you follow him. CP the franchise here, Bailey Lau. And hey, let's go Knicks, man. Let's get a W on game 3. Enjoy the show, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you guys next time, man. Peace.